The phone rang while I was pressing the shirt Julian would wear tomorrow. White, Egyptian cotton, he would wear no other brand. The name on the caller ID made my fingers pause. Sabrina. The name was a thorn that had lodged in my heart for 5 years. When left alone, we coexisted in peace. Touch it, and it tore flesh. The call kept ringing, as though determined to outwait me. I set the iron upright, walked to the living room, and picked up the phone he'd tossed on the sofa. Hello? I answered. A beat of silence, then a soft, deliberately fragile voice. Hi, is Julian there? Before we continue, please subscribe to this channel and tell us in the comments where you're listening. Julian. So intimate. In 5 years I'd only dared say Julian. He's not here, I replied, tone as calm as weather talk. Oh, could you let him know I'm back? Just landed, I'd love to see him. I gave a non-committal hum and was about to hang up when Sabrina added, sweetly probing, are you, the housekeeper? I stared at the city lights outside the window and almost laughed. 5 years. Ages 20 to 25, the best half-decade of a woman's life. To the real leading lady I was merely hired help. Probably less, at least a housekeeper got wages. All I received were scraps of warmth when he felt generous and a limitless black Amex. No, I said. I'm the Sabrina he keeps. I ended the call, blocked the number, deleted the log, one smooth motion. When it was done I stood until my legs tingled. Julian came home reeking of liquor laced with another woman's perfume, nothing like Sabrina's light sweetness, something louder, brasher. Seeing me in the living room, he tugged at his tie, frowning. Why no lights? I said nothing, stepped closer, reached to loosen the silk. He was in a foul mood. He shoved my hand away hard enough that I stumbled against the shoe cabinet. Don't touch me, he said, ice cold. I steadied myself and met his eyes, irritated, disgusted, undisguised. Sabrina is back, I stated. He froze, gaze turning colder. You touched my phone? It kept ringing. Vivian, who gave you the guts? He closed in until his tall frame swallowed my shadow. I smelled the mix on him, alcohol, perfume, and that unique scent that had addicted me for 5 years. She asked to meet you, I continued. So? He gave a short laugh. You think you can run my life? Not at all. I looked at my toes. Just reminding you, your white moon first love has returned, shouldn't the stand-in step down? Silence. So quiet I could hear the second hand, tick, 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 a countdown. At last he spoke, softly yet sharper than any shout. Did that you know? He brushed past me into the bathroom. Water drummed soon after. I stood hollowed out. I had always known this day would come. From the first day I agreed to be his mistress I knew, Sabrina was the lingering red ink mark on his heart, the white moon outside his window. Vivian was only a smear of mosquito blood, a grain of rice glued to his shirt. Yet I grew greedy. I thought 5 years, long enough for even a dog to earn affection, might count for something. It didn't. To him I was nothing. When he came out, toweled and cool, he didn't glance at me, just headed for the bedroom. Julian, I called. He stopped but didn't turn. Let's end this. Saying it drained every ounce of strength I had. He gave a faint laugh, shoulders shaking. Another tantrum? Allowance too small this month? I don't want money. I stared at his back. I want you to let me go. He finally faced me, looking me up and down as if appraising a broken trinket. Vivian, I'm busy. I don't have time for your games. If living here bothers you, get out. Once you've thought it over, crawl back. He entered the bedroom and slammed the door. I stared at that shut door. He'd said, get out. Fine. This time I would, utterly, completely. I didn't return to the bedroom we'd shared. I went to the study. I opened the computer and compressed every blueprint, every project file I'd touched. He's years, encrypted them, uploaded them to my private cloud, then wiped the machine. By the time I finished, dawn was almost breaking. I stepped into the walk-in closet, half lined with his tailored suits, half with designer clothes and bags he'd bought me. He never asked what I liked, he only chose the style Sabrina favored. You look good in this, he'd said. Not me, Sabrina looked good. I took nothing. I opened a trunk at the bottom and pulled out the few faded but clean clothes I'd arrived with 5 years earlier. I put on a plain white tee and jeans. In the vanity drawer lay the jewels he'd gifted. I only took a thin red string talisman tucked in the corner, blessed by my mother before she died, worthless to the world, priceless to me. Finally I set the black Amex he'd given me on the coffee table beside my key to the penthouse. I pulled my little suitcase to the door and opened it. Morning light stung my eyes. I looked back at the place I'd lived for 5 years, full of his scent, nothing that was truly mine. I shut the door softly. Julian, goodbye. No, farewell forever. I didn't leave the city right away. I rented a tiny studio on the opposite side, old walk-up with no elevator. I lugged my case to the 6th floor panting. Small, but south-facing and bright with sunshine. I unpacked, collapsed on the bed. The sun warmed me. I felt relaxed for the first time in years. For 5 years I'd lived like a shadow. My hours synced to Julian's. Banquets kept me waiting past midnight, trips meant packing his luggage, his fragile stomach sent me learning dozens of restorative soups. I even abandoned my beloved design major and studied finance to suit him. His woman couldn't be a decorative painter, he'd said. Now I was free. My phone stayed muted. I glanced, dozens of missed calls, all from his assistant, not one from Julian. He'd woken to no pressed shirt, no breakfast, and assumed I was sulking. A few days of silence and I'd trot back, tail wagging. I pried out the SIM, snap. It, dropped it in the trash, and bought a new number that afternoon. Then an unexpected call came. Is this Vivian? A gentle male voice asked. Speaking. Who's this? Ethan. I froze. The celebrated architect who collected prizes like postcards, 2 classes ahead of me at college. Once, judging a campus competition, he'd awarded my project top marks. Your work has a soul, he'd said, the first time anyone ever affirmed me. Ethan, hi, I managed, nervous. Hope I'm not interrupting. I saw your updated portfolio PDF, are you freelance now? My heart jumped. After leaving Julian, I dusted off my 5-year-old resume and fired it to a few dream firms. He'd seen it. Yes. Interested in joining Cross? He cut to the chase. I'm rebuilding a Jiangnan garden and need someone who understands Chinese aesthetics. That's you. My pulse skipped. Ethan's Cross, every designer's heaven, staffed by gods. Me, really? I lacked confidence, years of doodling couldn't replace lost professional time. Why not? He countered. I reviewed all your university projects, your talent deserves daylight. Come visit first, he added. Tomorrow, 3 o'clock? I'll be there. I blurted. After hanging up I felt lightheaded. In the mirror I looked pale, eyes ringed. I'd been Julian's caged canary, glossy, flightless. No way could I meet Ethan like this. I went to a salon and cut my waist-length hair. Julian loved long hair, Sabrina's hair. The shoulder-length reflection felt liberating. Next afternoon I applied light makeup, slipped into the white sundress I'd loved at college, and headed to Cross. A tranquil white 3-story studio in Riverside stood behind lush greenery. Ethan waited at the gate. Simple shirt, casual trousers, clean as a painting, older yet still gentle-eyed. Junior, he greeted with a smile, you're early. Didn't want to be late. He showed me around, understated spaces rich in detail, unmistakably his design. Thoughts? He asked. Amazing, I said, heartfelt. In his office he handed me warm water. Let's talk gardens. What does Chinese landscape mean to you? Startled by the direct question, I grew nervous, then eloquent once design took over. I spoke of borrowed scenery, of purposeful emptiness. We wandered from Suzhou courtyards to Khersansui, an entire afternoon dissolved. You have vision, he said, admiration pure. Vivian, I formally invite you to join Cross. My eyes burned. No one had called me Vivian in ages. Julian only ever barked my full name like a boss. Thank you, Ethan, I said, utterly sincere. Work finished, he invited me to dinner. We chose an intimate private kitchen. Handing me the menu, he waited while I read, my stomach clenched at cilantro beef salad. I'm severely allergic to cilantro. Julian knew. Once at a client dinner someone slipped me a cilantro leaf. I broke out in hives, couldn't breathe, ended up at Saint after that. No sprig ever appeared in his kitchen. I'd thought he cared, until I overheard him on the phone. Cilantro? Disgusting stuff. Sabrina can't stand the smell. You won't find it here. He'd banned it for Sabrina, not for me. He never even registered my allergy. What's wrong? Ethan asked softly, noticing my frozen stare. Nothing. I came back to myself, smiled, and handed him the menu. Ethan, you order. I'm easy. He took the card and said naturally to the server, skip the cilantro beef salad, bring everything else. Oh, and tell the kitchen, no cilantro on any dish. I froze. He saw my stunned face and laughed. Forgot to mention, I pulled your college file. It says you're allergic. Something inside me felt gently bumped. A guy who'd met me only a handful of times remembered my allergy, while the man who'd shared my bed for 5 years had never even noticed. I ate the rest of the meal in quiet. Afterward Ethan drove me to my shabby old complex. He stopped at the curb but didn't let me out right away. Vivian, he said, looking straight at me, I don't know the past, but I can see you haven't been happy. Now you're free. I want you to be yourself again, the Vivian who glows over blueprints. My tears finally spilled. Not wanting to break down in front of him, I rubbed my face, muttered thanks, pushed the door open, and almost fled upstairs. Back inside the tiny room I squatted on the floor and sobbed. For the 5 years of youth I'd buried, and for the belated new life I'd finally seized. The day before Ethan's cross onboarding, I went back to Julian's company. I needed to finish my resignation. 5 years ago, to take care of him, I'd walked straight into Julian's firm after graduation as his special assistant. In plain words, a live-in nanny. I wanted it quick and hoped to avoid Julian. But the universe refused. I'd just reached the CEO's door when Julian walked out, Sabrina on his arm, smiling sweetly. He spotted me. His brows drew together, irritation in his eyes. So you finally remembered to show up? I ignored him and walked straight to Margaret's desk. Margaret, I'm here for my resignation. Margaret blinked, glanced at Julian, then at me, awkward. Julian's face darkened instantly. Resignation? He snorted. Vivian, are you done throwing your tantrum? Sabrina tugged his sleeve gently. Julian, don't be mad. Who is this? Some misunderstanding? She looked at me, eyes wide and curious. Julian said nothing, his silence permission enough. Hi, I'm Vivian, Voss's. I paused, unsure of the label. Former mistress? Former assistant? Former employee, I finished. Sabrina smiled. Oh, an employee. Nice to meet you, Vivian. I'm Sabrina. Julian and she peeked at him, shy, we've been friends for years. Watching her, I felt those 5 years turn into a punchline. Boss, please sign my letter. I pulled the resignation I'd prepared and held it out. He didn't even look, he yanked it, tore it in half. Not approved. He stared at me, word by word, get back to your desk. Now. His tone was the kind you use on a disobedient dog. Heads were already poking out nearby. My cheeks be you. Rened. Julian. I lifted my chin and met his eyes. I'm no longer your employee. Under labor law, a 30-day notice ends the contract. Today is day 30. His face turned colder. He hadn't expected me, always so docile, to contradict him in public. Fine. He laughed in fury. Vivian, you've grown guts. Think I can't blacklist you from every firm in this city with one sentence? That was Julian, control was oxygen, whoever defied him paid. I believe you, I said. So what? Boss, I only want my file and a clean exit. No need to flex your power. Sabrina tried to smooth things over. Julian, let it go. Maybe Vivian's just in a bad mood. Let's eat, I booked your favorite place. Julian's expression softened a fraction. He shot me one last icy look. You'll get no file. Let's see how you survive without Voss. Then, arm around Sabrina, he turned and left. I watched them go, nails digging crescents into my palms. Margaret came over, sighing, and handed me water. Vivian, why clash with Voss when he's furious? I didn't clash, Margaret. I just want what's mine. I sipped and calmed myself. But, thanks for everything these years. I cut her off. I'll handle the file. Please pack my personal things and mail them here. I scribbled my rented address and gave it to her. Outside the Voss Tower the sun stabbed my eyes. I stood by the curb, lost. Without that file I couldn't formally onboard at Ethan's place. Julian had yanked the ladder, ruthless. My phone rang. Ethan. Vivian, tomorrow's onboarding, still good? Ethan. I hesitated. My file might be stuck for a while. I gave him the short version, omitting my history with Julian, saying only that my ex-boss and I had friction. Ethan was quiet a second. That's it? He laughed. We cross don't do red tape. Show up, that's enough. He can't hold the file long, labor board complaint will teach him manners. Warmth flooded me. Thanks, Ethan. No need, he said. See you tomorrow. After hanging up, the gloom lifted. Why fear? Julian, you think why? Oh, you can still steer my life? I, Vivian, am no longer the fool who traded everything for love. Next day I officially started at Ethan's cross. The team was friendly, the vibe relaxed, creative. I fit right in. Ethan put me on the Riverside Gardens team. With the project lead I hit the site daily, sketches, models, non-stop hustle. Exhausting, but fulfilled. Creating value with my own hands, no amount of black AMX swiping had ever felt this real. Julian drifted out of my thoughts. He'd been a bad flu, miserable while it raged, gone once it broke. Only sometimes, walking home late after overtime, would I zone out. Before, no matter the hour, Julian sent a driver. Now I had only myself. Yet the solitude felt solid. I thought life would stay calm, until a week later my phone rang. An old colleague, still friendly, bubbled with gossip. Vivian, check Voss, explosion. What happened? Voss and Sabrina just announced their engagement at the gala. My heart lurched. Expected, yet it still hurt. Oh, I answered flatly. You, okay, she asked carefully. Why wouldn't I be? I smiled. Congratulations to them. After hanging up I stared at the half-finished lines on my screen, couldn't draw a single one. I headed to the pantry, brewed strong black coffee, no sugar, no milk. Bitterness slid down my throat, straight to my heart. I told myself, Vivian, be happy, he's engaged, you're finally free. So why did tears drip into the cup? The penthouse I'd shared with Julian was rented. Yes, rented. 5 years ago he brought me there and said, from now on this is yours. Bought and paid for, under your name. I'd melted, thinking he was giving me a home. Later I learned it belonged to a buddy, he'd simply borrowed it. Too lazy to transfer title, every month he had his assistant wire rent to my card so I could pass it to the landlord. That ritual reminded me I was merely a tenant, eviction anytime. Now the lease was almost up. I texted him one last time. Lease ends next week, do you pick up your thing? Yes, or should I clear them? No reply. As expected. He was probably cooing over his fiancée, no time for an ex-mistress's junk. Fine. I booked movers for Saturday afternoon. That Saturday the weather was gorgeous. I called my only best friend, Chloe. She'd always hated Julian. When she heard I was leaving the heartbreak condo, she took the day off without hesitation. About damn time, she griped while boxing my books. That boss bastard wrecked you, look how skinny you are. I laughed. I'm free now. I actually owned little there, most was Julian's, clothes, books, collectible figures. Chloe asked, trash it? I shook my head. Had it sent to the Voss estate. I wanted zero lingering ties, no accusation I was looting leftovers. The two of us packed all day. The movers came, trip after trip downstairs. Only the huge living room sofa remained. I remembered choosing it together when we'd first moved in. I'd wanted a cozy beige fabric couch. Julian pointed to this black leather monster and said, that one, easy to wipe. Later I learned Sabrina was a neat freak, easy clean furniture turned her on. I sat on it one last time. 5 years, I'd sat on this cold slab, never able to warm it. What are you thinking? Chloe asked, handing me water. Nothing, I said, standing. Let's go. Our footsteps echoed in the empty space. I took a final look and shut the door. After delivering Julian's stuff to the Voss estate, Chloe and I were dog-tired. Come on, feast on me. Da jinx. She waved grandly. We picked a hot pot joint and ordered a tableful. Chloe knew I'd eaten bland food with Julian for years. She chose the extra spicy broth. Today we drink till we drop. She poured me a full beer. I hadn't let loose in ages. We ate, we talked, college cringe tales, workplace nuts. Mid-banter Chloe's eyes widened at something behind me. Damn, he's haunting us. I turned. By the entrance Julian had his arm around Sabrina, walking in with friends. He saw me. His gaze rested 3 seconds, then slid away like I was a stranger. He led Sabrina to a table not far from us. I lowered my head and kept rinsing tripe. Vivian, let's switch restaurants? Chloe whispered. No. I lifted the tripe, eyes watering from chili. Why should we leave? Just eating. Words were brave, but the meal tasted like sawdust. Their table burst into laughter. Someone urged Julian to kiss Sabrina. My chopsticks almost snapped. Chloe couldn't take it, she dragged me out. I didn't move. I took out my phone and opened Instagram. The city was putting on harbor fireworks tonight, and everyone was posting clips. Then it hit me, what day this was. It was my birthday. 5 years ago on this same day, Julian had taken me to that penthouse. He'd wrapped his arms around me from behind and whispered in my ear, Vivian, from now on I'll spend every birthday with you. I'd believed him. But in these 5 years he hadn't kept that promise once. Every year he had an excuse, business trip, work dinner, or he'd simply forgotten. This year he was watching the dazzling harbor fireworks with his white moon first love, the whole city looking on. Someone on Instagram had posted a shot from the scene. Julian's head was tilted, gazing tenderly at Sabrina, and Sabrina wore the perfect happy smile. Brilliant sparks lit up their love story like a backdrop. I saved the photo without a word. Then I stood, lifted my glass, and walked straight to Julian's table. Chloe tried to stop me and missed. Every eye pinned itself on me. Julian's brows drew together. Sabrina's face showed just the right amount of surprise. I stopped at their table, raised my glass toward Julian, and smiled. Boss, Sabrina, congratulations on the engagement. Without waiting for an answer, I tilted my head and downed the entire beer. Wishing you 100 years together and a house full of children. I set the empty glass down with a thud and walked away. I hadn't shed a single tear. Outside, the cold wind slapped me and the world spun a little. Chloe steadied me. Bye. Dian, are you okay? I'm fine, I said. Perfectly fine. Yes, perfectly fine. I'd finally drawn a period, messy, bitter, under 5 years of us. But it was finished. Happy birthday, Vivian. Starting today, you're new. I don't know exactly when Julian realized I'd really moved out. Maybe some midnight when he needed me on call and my phone kept going to voicemail, or some hangover morning when he woke to no sober-up soup and no clean shirts, or maybe when he suddenly remembered the Sabrina he'd shoved in a corner and discovered even the cage was gone. Whatever the moment, he started looking. The first to find me was Margaret, his assistant. I was going over blueprints with the project team when the receptionist tracked me down. She leaned close and whispered, Vivian, Chen says she's a former colleague. I walked to reception and picked up the phone. Vivian, where on earth are you? Margaret sounded frantic. Boss is turning the company upside down looking for you. I resigned, Margaret. I know you resigned, but you can't just vanish like that. Boss, he's worried about you. Worried? I almost laughed. He was worried no one would clean up his mess. I'm fine, Margaret, thanks for asking. If that's all, I'm still on the clock. Wait, please. Vivian, I'm begging you, just call him. He hasn't slept in 2 nights, his temper's getting worse, we're all walking on eggshells. That's your problem, not mine. I hung up. That afternoon a text from an unknown number arrived. Money, many zeros, had landed in the card I'd stopped using years ago. Then the message, got the money? Pin is your birthday. Come back. Julian, of course, still convinced cash can fix anything. The thought was almost funny. He couldn't even add one extra word asking how I was. I transferred every dollar back with the memo, boss, a good horse never returns to old grazing ground. Besides, I'm not a horse and you're not grass. Then I blocked the number. Silence, at last. Work went smoothly. The Jiang and Gardens project hit its critical phase. Ethan gave me full creative control. I was in charge of one courtyard's landscape. I holed up at Cross for 3 straight days and nights until I had an opening draft I loved. When Ethan saw the plans, his eyes lit up. Vivian, you never disappoint. This twist-and-hide path is brilliant. Feeling valued was intoxicating. At the client presentation, my concept won unanimous praise. Afterward, Ethan took the whole team out. We picked a quiet bar with mellow lighting. Everyone toasted. I stared at my drink, mind wandering. Ethan slid onto the stool beside me and traded my glass for juice. If you can't hold liquor, don't force it. Thanks, Ethan. He studied me. Still thinking about the past? No. He smiled and let it drop. Look ahead, Vivian. You're brilliant and you deserve better. I nodded at the warmth in his calm eyes. Yes, look ahead. But some things can't be outrun just because you want them gone. That weekend I went back to Mom, my childhood home in an old complex no one had entered in months. Dust coated every surface. I cleaned all day until my back refused to straighten. That night I lay on the bed I'd grown up in, breathing sun-dried quilt, and slept like the dead. Next morning frantic pounding yanked me awake. I stumbled to the door and froze. Julian, how had he found this place? Stubble shaded his jaw, veins spiderwebbed his bloodshot eyes, yesterday's suit a wrinkled mess. When he saw me his own eyes reddened. Vivian. You're really here. He seized my wrist so hard bones ground. Come home with me. Let go. Have you lost your mind? I lost my mind? A laugh cracked out of him uglier than a sob. You vanish without a word, no calls, no texts, and you ask if I'm crazy? We're done. I shouted. You told me to get lost. I got lost, now what do you want? I was angry, he roared. 5 years, Vivian, don't you know when I'm just blowing off steam? I don't. All I know is you said you didn't have time for my games. Why? Oh, you said come back when I'd thought it through. Well, I have. I'm not coming back. His hands trembled. He stared as if trying to burn a hole through me. Why? He demanded. Because Sabrina came back? No. It's not about her, not entirely. I'm tired. I loved you for 5 years like an idiot. I changed for you, gave things up. I thought one day you'd see me. I was wrong. Your heart is stone that never warms. Now that stone can warm someone else. I'm done being the idiot. I wrenched free. Go. And don't come looking for me again. I shut the door and left him outside. He didn't knock again, but he didn't leave either. I listened to him stand there long after the sky had gone dark. Days at Cross flew by, full and satisfying. After the garden's success, I led several independent projects. I was no longer the Vivian who trailed behind Julian reading his moods. I was Vivian the designer, with my own work, my own team, even a small circle of recognition. Chloe watched the transformation. You're glowing, she said, thrilled for me. I smiled. Leaving Julian felt like the moment I finally started living. One day I picked up a call from the prestigious Pinnacle Committee. My Jiangnan garden had been shortlisted for Landscape of the Year. I nearly jumped out of my skin. Ethan accompanied me to the awards gala as both my boss and friend. Our relationship floated in a gentle ambiguity. He cared for me with quiet devotion, and the whole studio assumed we were dating, yet neither of us had spoken the words. I was afraid of crawling out of one pit only to tumble into another. The ballroom glittered with industry giants. My palms sweated nervously. Ethan squeezed my hand. You've earned this. When the presenter called Vivian, my mind blanked. Spotlight, applause, a tidal roar. Ethan hugged me hard. Congratulations. In a white gown I climbed to the stage and accepted the heavy trophy, dreaming. I stepped to the microphone, inhaled, and let my prepared speech roll out, thanking the calm Ethan, the team, until my gaze brushed the first row center. Julian. Black suit, immaculate tie, hair combed to precision, yet he looked awful. Sunken cheeks, paper-thin pallor, eyes bright with shock and pain and something almost manic. Our gazes collided. I paused a beat, then glided on. And finally, thank you to myself, for never giving up when everything was dark. Bow, descend, applause. Back in my seat Ethan asked, all right? You look pale. I'm fine. I hugged the trophy. After the ceremony came the reception. Industry people swarmed with congratulations and business cards. While I smiled and chatted, my eyes kept sweeping the room. He wasn't there. I couldn't name the feeling, relief or loss. I'll drive you home, Ethan said when the crowd thinned. We took the elevator to the garage. As we reached his car, a figure lurched from behind a pillar. Julian, reeking of liquor, eyes wild. Vivian. He stared as if Ethan didn't exist. Ethan stepped between us, frowning. Boss, you're drunk. Out of my way. Julian shoved him aside and grabbed my shoulders, shaking me. Why didn't you look at me? Up there, you never once looked at me. Julian, let go. The world wobbled. Never, he bellowed. Tell me, are you with him now? You win your award and fly off into the sunset together, is that it? His words were ugly, ridiculous. Who I'm with is none of your business. I shoved, but his grip was iron. Ethan stepped forward, trying to pull him off. The two men instantly began wrestling. The scene dissolved into chaos. I screamed at them to stop. Only when the garage security came running did they manage to separate them. Ethan's lip was split, his white shirt streaked with gray. Julian looked worse, hair disheveled, a fresh bruise blooming on his cheek, yet he seemed numb to pain, his eyes still nailed to me. Vivian, come with me. I'm not going anywhere with you. I moved to Ethan's side and steadied him. Julian, we're done. Please don't ever bother me again. Bother? He laughed as though I'd told the joke of the century. Coming for my woman counts as bothering? Your woman? I stared at him, voice iced. Your woman is Sabrina, your fiancée. Forgot already? At her name, Julian's body stiffened. A flicker of pain crossed his eyes. She and I, he started. Whatever you two do is none of my business. I cut him off. Boss, have some self-respect. Then I helped Ethan into the car. As we rolled out of the garage, I saw Julian in the rearview mirror, still standing there. He looked like a statue the world had abandoned. The street lamp stretched his shadow long, impossibly long. After the night of the awards gala, Julian's harassment escalated. He called from every unknown number he could buy. When I wouldn't pick up, he texted. The messages were incoherent, accusations of cruelty one minute, sentimental memories the next. Reading them exhausted me. If only he'd seen this coming before it was too late. He even showed up at Cross. I briefed reception, say I'm out. Ethan lost patience and had legal send Julian a cease and desist letter. That bought me a few quiet days. I thought he'd finally given up. But one storm-lashed midnight he came straight to my place. I still lived in that old complex. I'd worked late, Ethan insisted on driving me home. As we neared the gate I spotted a dark figure, black umbrella in hand, standing beneath my building's awning. Rain poured, the figure stood ramrod straight. My heart sank. When we stopped, Ethan frowned. Him? I nodded. I'll deal with it, he said, reaching for his seat belt. No. I caught his arm. Ethan, go home. This is my mess to clean up. He searched my face, worried. You'll be okay alone? I'll be fine. I gave him a reassuring smile. Promise. He hesitated. Call if you need me. I stepped out, opened my umbrella, and walked toward the silhouette. Up close I saw Julian, no umbrella. The black umbrella hung at his side and used. Cold rain streamed down his hair, his cheeks, every inch of him so ked, the expensive suit plastered to his frame. When he saw me, his eyes lit. Vivian. What do you want? I stopped a few steps away, voice frigid. He opened his mouth, lost for words. Rain streaked his face, impossible to tell water from tears. I had to see you, he said. There's nothing left to see. I turned toward the entrance. Julian, I told you, we're finished. I know, he murmured, voice thin against the downpour. I just needed to look at you. You've looked. Now leave. I spun to go. Wait. He lunged, seizing my arm. His hand was ice. Vivian, give me one more chance, please? It was a plea. I know I messed up, really messed up. And where exactly did you mess up? I looked back, almost amused. I didn't treasure you, let you be humiliated, treated you like her stand-in. What's the point now? I asked. Julian, I gave you 5 years. You shoved me away with your own hands. Tell me, what did you feel that night at the hot pot joint when you saw me? Did you think your embarrassing ex-mistress should be swept out like trash? On your birthday, where were you? Watching harbor fireworks with your fiancé. Did you ever wonder how the woman you threw out spent it alone? The night I won the Pinnacle you sat in the audience. You saw me on that stage beside another man. Did it feel like someone had stolen your possession? Was that why you couldn't let go? Question after question, quiet yet cutting. His face drained of color. His grip tightened. No. Vivian, it wasn't like that. He stammered. Then how was it? I yanked free. Save it. I don't want to hear. Julian, go. While we still have a shred of dignity left. I ran upstairs without looking back. Inside, I sagged against the door, shaking. Outside, the rain became a roar. I have no idea how long he remained below. I yanked the curtains shut and buried myself under the quilt. Don't soften, Vivian. You can't soften ever again. That night I slept fitfully. At dawn I opened the curtains. The rain had stopped. The courtyard was empty. He was gone. I exhaled. Heading out, I found a thermos flask by the door, a rain-soaked note beside it. The ink was blurred, stomach's bad, remember to drink. I stared at those words a long time. Finally I bent, picked up the flask, and dropped it into the trash. Life seemed calm once more. Julian didn't reappear. Only occasionally did Chloe bring me scraps of news. They say Julian and Sabrina called off the engagement. Stock in Voss tanked, it cost him a fortune. The Zus won't let it go, the families are at war. I listened, unmoved. None of it concerned me anymore. Work and study swallowed my days. Ethan enrolled me in a master class with a renowned architect in Milan. I lived for Milan now. Then an unknown number rang. An aged, authoritative voice said, Jiang? I'm Julian's father. I froze. Boss, good afternoon. I need to see you. No room for refusal. We met in a tea house. Richard looked older than in the press photos, immaculate in a tang suit yet shadowed by worry. He skipped niceties. Jiang, I know my son wronged you. I waited. I'm not here to plead for him. I only want to tell you something, about him, and about you. He told me a story I'd never heard. 6 years ago Julian represented Voss at a campus industry partnership at our university. Afterward the school held a student exhibition. A blueprint caught his eye, a Watertown concept, rough but inspired. He asked the department chair who the author was. Vivian, the chair said. He remembered that name. He planned to recruit her after graduation. Then something happened. His White Moon first love, Sabrina, announced she was off to Milan. Her departure devastated him. Weeks later, at a gala, he spotted me. I reminded him of that talented freshman, same freshness, same light in the eyes. He assumed I was the girl who'd drawn the Watertown. So he approached me. And I, seeing in him a likeness to my secret crush Ethan, glanced back. A misunderstanding bound us together. So, Richard sighed, Julian never chased you because you resembled Sabrina. He simply mistook you for someone else. My mind reeled. He mistook me how? The real designer wasn't you, he said. The chair mixed up the names. The author was another student who later left for Milan. Julian believed you were the gifted freshman, but after you moved in with him you gave up design. He felt let down, confused, convinced himself you weren't the person he'd admired. Add to that your passing likeness to Sabrina, and over time he rewrote history. He'd chosen you because you looked like her, not because he'd misidentified talent. That lie numbed his disappointment. I sat thunderstruck. The 5 years I'd spent believing I was a stand-in had been a farce born of mistaken identity. He hadn't replaced me with a ghost. He simply hadn't seen me at all. The Vivian he wanted was the prodigy on paper, the flesh and blood Vivian who surrendered everything for him never registered. How laughable, and how tragic. What about Sabrina? I managed. They haven't loved each other in years, he said. Just pawns in a family merger. When Sabrina came back they both agreed to end it, but the corporations are tangled. It'll take time. I don't remember leaving the tea house. Sunlight bathed the street yet I felt ice in my veins. I drifted along the sidewalk. My phone buzzed. Ethan. Vivian, where are you? Gentle, steady. Ethan. A sob cracked my voice. Stay there. I'm coming. 20 minutes later he pulled up. I climbed in, collapsed over the wheel, and cried until I couldn't breathe. He asked no questions, only passed tissues. When the storm inside me passed he murmured, home? I nodded. We stopped at my building. As I opened the door he said my name. Vivian. His gaze was solemn. Let the past stay past. Will you look forward, with me? Will you, give us a try? I met his eyes, clear as a lake reflecting my swollen face. In them I saw no disgust, only tenderness and careful hope. Words tangle. Ed, my heart was rubble. Ethan, Nothing came. He smiled as if he'd expected this. It's okay. He ruffled my hair lightly. I'm not pushing. You don't have to answer now. I only want you to know you're not alone. I'm right behind you. Whatever you decide, I'll back you. My tears betrayed me again, sliding down my cheeks. Why? Why did he always show up with exactly the warmth I needed at my ugliest, messiest moments? Sorry. I choked out. Right now. I can't give you an answer. Fool. He sighed, brushing the tears away with his thumb. Don't say sorry. The one who should apologize is the person who made you cry. After that day, Ethan treated me exactly the same. He never mentioned dating again, yet his care was everywhere. He brought me breakfast without fail, sat with me wordlessly when I worked late, patiently talked me through every design block. He was a hot spring, thawing the glacier around my heart, drop by drop. I began to consider his proposal, seriously. I asked myself, Vivian, do you still believe in love? The answer was, I don't know. But I'm willing to believe in Ethan one more time. The day for Milan drew closer. Before I left, the cross team threw me a farewell party. Everyone was in high spirits, except me. My mind kept wandering. I was waiting for Ethan. He had an important meeting and had texted he'd be late. He rushed in near the end, wind-blown sweat glistening on his forehead. Sorry I'm late. The coworkers heckled, penalty, 3 shots. He laughed and tossed them back without protest. Then he walked up, pulled a small box from his pocket. A Bon Voyage gift. I opened it. Inside lay an unusual necklace. The pendant was my initials, YC. This is. I designed it, he said. One of a kind. My heart pounded. After the party he drove me home. We rode in silence. When he parked downstairs I unbuckled but didn't get out. I turned to him. Ethan. That offer you made, does it still stand? He froze, then his eyes lit up as if stars had fallen into them. Of course it does, he said, voice trembling. I inhaled every ounce of courage I possessed. Then, let's try. He stared at me for the longest time. Just when I thought he might back out, he leaned over, unfastened my seat belt, stepped out, rounded the car, and opened my door. He stretched his hand toward me. Well then, Vivian. He grinned like a boy. From this moment on, you're my girlfriend. Pleased to be yours. I looked at his outstretched hand and smiled. I laid my palm in his. His hand was warm. In that instant the last cube of ice inside me melted. I could finally bid my past a proper goodbye. News of Ethan and me spread fast. Chloe, happier than I was, dragged him off to interrogate him over dinner. By the end of the meal she was completely charmed. Vivian, you finally got it right, she declared, tipsy, patting my shoulder. A gentle, jade-like man like Ethan beats that jerk Julian 10,000-fold. I smiled but said nothing. I knew Ethan was good. He remembered every preference, respected every decision, encouraged every dream. With him I felt light, at ease. No more pretending, no more pleasing. I could simply be Vivian. All the paperwork for Milan was done. The night before departure, I got a call from Julian, Margaret's number. Vivian. Margaret sounded exhausted. Could you come to St. Boss? My heart sank. What happened? Stress ulcer bleed. They just stabilized him. I went quiet. I know I shouldn't ask, she said, but while he was out he kept calling your name. Doctors say the patient's will to live matters. I understand. I'll be there shortly. I texted Ethan that something had come up and headed to St. Julian. Lay alone in the ward, sheet white face, cracked lips, for running into his hand. Even asleep his brows were knit. Standing there, I tasted every conflicting flavor in my heart. I'd thought I was over him. Yet seeing him like this still hurt. I stepped forward to tuck the blanket. The moment my fingers touched the dage he snapped awake. His eyes were too lucid for someone fresh from death's door. You came, he rasped. I jerked my hand back. You were awake the whole time? He nodded. So the bleed was real but you and Margaret faked the crisis to lure me? Heat flared in me. The bleed is real, he said. Luring you is also real. Julian, how childish can you be? If I didn't, would you have come? I had no answer. Of course not. Only the thought that he might die could make me walk through that door. What do you want? I asked, patience wearing thin. He pulled a folder from under his pillow and held it out. What's this? See for yourself. I opened the envelope, a stock transfer agreement, 10% of Voss to be put in my name. I gaped at him. Have you lost your mind? I haven't, he said. Vivian, it's what I owe you. I don't want it. I flung the papers back. Do you think everything, love, guilt, can be weighed in dollars? That's not what I meant, he burst out. I just don't know how else to make it up to you. Make it up? I laughed. With what? Can you refund my 5 dead years? Can you restore the heart you trampled into dust? Listen carefully, Julian. I no longer hate you, because you're not even worth hatred. I came today to end this. Tomorrow I leave for Milan, for study, for my own life. From now on our paths never cross. Take care of yourself. Whatever happens among you, Sabrina and the white moon you misidentified from the start is none of my business. I turned to leave. He scrambled from the bed and caught me from behind, fever still radiating from his skin. Don't go. Vivian, don't go. He buried his head in the hollow of my neck, voice breaking. I know I was wrong. Give me one more chance. Let's start over, please? I love you, Vivian. I always have, I just didn't realize. Exhaustion washed over me. Julian, I whispered. He froze. What exactly do you love about me? I love that you'd glow for a whole day over one compliment. I love how you clumsy. Ly cooked congee when I was sick. I love that, though you're scared of the dark, you still left a lamp on for me late at night. All tiny details from our past, details I thought he'd never noticed. He remembered. But remembering isn't enough, the damage is done. Once trust collapses it can never be rebuilt. One by one I pried his fingers off. Facing his bloodshot eyes, I asked, enunciating each word, Julian, you say you love me now, are you even worthy? His body shook savagely, every trace of color drained from his face. I felt no mercy. Unworthy, I answered for him. So let go. Free me, and free yourself. Outside St. the night had fallen. I stood by the road, wind gutting me, the long tug-of-war with Julian over at last. My phone buzzed. Ethan. Where are you? In front of St. Stay put, I'm coming. 10 minutes later his car stopped before me. I climbed in, he asked nothing, only handed me a warm bottle of milk. Drink, soothe your stomach. Clutching the milk, I stared at his gentle profile and blurted, Ethan, let's get married. The car jerked to a halt. He turned, stunned. Vivian, I'm serious, I said, looking straight at him. I want to marry you. Maybe it was impulse, I was simply too tired. I needed a harbor, and Ethan was the safest. He stayed silent so long I thought he'd refuse. Vivian, he finally said, restarting the engine, voice soft but firm, I love you. That's why I can't take advantage of you the moment you're broken and exhausted. It wouldn't be fair to you. I don't want you to choose me out of gratitude or escape. I'm waiting for the day you smile from your heart and say, Ethan, I'm ready, let's get married. Until then, I'll wait. Tears spilled before I could stop them. Why did this man always strike the tenderest chord in me, always put me ahead of himself? At my building I dried my eyes and smiled. Ethan, thank you. Silly, he ruffled my hair, rest well, your flight's tomorrow. Next day I dragged my suitcase to the airport and said goodbye to Ethan and Chloe. Chloe hugged me, bawling. Brat, take care over there. Don't fall for another bastard. Laughing, I patted her back. Ethan stood quietly. Ethan, I'm off. He straightened my collar. Text me when you land. Promise. I turned toward security. Vivian, he called. I looked back. He stepped closer and, in front of everyone, gave me a light hug. I'll be waiting for you to come home, he whispered. I nodded, throat hot. Past the gate I waved again, they waved back. As the plane took off, the city where I'd lived 20+ years shrank below, everyone I'd loved or hated left behind. I didn't know what tomorrow looked like, or how Ethan's and my story would end when I returned. But I was no longer afraid. I had chosen this path myself, that was enough. My phone vibrated, a text from Julian, 4 words. Safe flight. I stared at it a long time, then typed a reply, goodbye, Julian. Wish you peace, and the same for me. Sent. Powered off. The plane pierced the clouds toward a brand new future. Thanks for listening. If you liked the story, hit like and share with friends. Tell us your thoughts in the comments, subscribe for more, and see you next time.